I can still remember the faces. Not because I sit around thinking about them. I don't. But sometimes a call just doesn't go away. It's a smell, a sound, a date on the calendar. And just like that, you're right back there, like it happened yesterday, not years ago. And seriously, some of you know exactly what I'm saying right now. I'm retired Sergeant Danny Coon. I spent 31 years in law enforcement. After that, I became a law enforcement chaplain and mental health coach, walking alongside first responders through the hidden cost of this career. I've been in those shoes. I've put in the work studying this, and I've sat with my brothers and sisters in this profession who were convinced they were completely alone in what they were going through. So, if you're carrying a call that won't let go, if you're drowning in stress, questioning your faith, or just wondering why you don't feel like yourself anymore, this episode is for you. Because darkness is real, but darkness doesn't get the final word. Welcome to Bulletproof First Responder, where first responders are stronger in faith, sounder in mind, and unbreakable in purpose. It's tiring telling everyone you're okay when you're not, carrying weight that nobody else can see, smiling through roll call or sitting in a driveway for 20 minutes because you can't even walk through your own front door. So here's why it matters that you stay with me right now. That chaos you stuff down, it's not just in your head. It's messing up your sleep. It's putting a wall between you and your people. It's pulling you away from your faith, from your health, from any kind of peace. And if you just keep leaving it alone, it will drag you slowly and quietly into isolation, depression, hopelessness, and real darkness. But it doesn't have to be like that. Today we're getting into how trauma builds up in you, why emotional suppression eventually catches up, how the darkness gets its foot in the door, and most importantly, how you find your way out. No easy answers, no fake it till you make it, and no suck it up and drive on. I'm going to give you real tools, proven principles, faith, peer support, and honest conversation. You know, Psalm 23 says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." That verse doesn't say you won't walk through the valley. It says you won't walk through it alone. And if you're listening right now, you need to hear this. You are not weak because you're tired. You are not faithless because you're struggling. You are not less of a cop, a firefighter, a medic, a dispatcher, a CO, or a veteran because the job got inside your head. But you are responsible for what you do next. The problem is what happens after the call. We take that same skill, that survival move, and we bring it home. We don't just stuff it down for the call. We've been doing it for years, sometimes a whole career. We push it down, lock it up, and tell ourselves the "I'm okay" lie, and call it toughness. Call it being squared away. Call it professionalism. But sometimes what looks like strength is just avoidance with a badge. Look, there's a difference between controlling your emotions and burying them alive. When you control your emotions, it means you're the one driving. When you bury them, they're still down there, alive, building pressure. And you know what? Pressure always finds a way out. It comes out as anger, rage, pulling away from your people, numbness, reckless behavior, and sarcasm that cuts way deeper than it should. It means your give-a-damn's busted. And sometimes, and I'm going to say this straight up, it comes out as sitting alone in the dark, wondering if anybody would even notice if you were gone. Sorry, that's not weakness. That's a signal. And it's driving straight into the danger zone. Here's what I need you to think about. You can be technically sharp and emotionally wrecked at the same time. You can love God and still be depressed. You can be the bravest person in the room and still need help. You can be the one everyone calls when it goes bad and still need somebody to pick you up when it gets real inside of you. All of those things are true, and we need to start being honest about that. Let's get into emotional suppression, what it is and what it does. Emotional suppression is when you consciously push the painful stuff, the memories, the thoughts, and the feelings down. And in this profession, that's the culture. We handle the call, but we blow past what the call does to us. We debrief the tactics, we break down the scene, but there's never a debrief for what you did, what that call did to your soul. You have no space for grief, no room to even acknowledge what you carried home. And when there's nowhere for pain to go, it goes underground. And that's where depression moves in. Quiet. You probably wouldn't even see it at first. First you're tired, then you're irritated, then you stop answering texts. You don't want to go nowhere. Your family starts walking on eggshells. Sleep falls apart. You're starting to drink more. Church gets distant, and prayer feels like you're talking to the ceiling. And before you know it, the job is your whole identity. And the thing that used to give you purpose is the thing slowly hollowing you out from the inside. And that's the trap. The job gives you purpose. But if the job becomes your idol, your God, it will take everything you got and still want more. The job is a calling, not your creator. It is a mission field, not your savior. It can give you purpose, but only God can give you an identity that's still standing when the job is gone. Now I'm going to talk about something that sounds like it's helping, but can actually do real damage. Toxic positivity. That's when somebody takes your pain and tries to slap a bumper sticker on it. You've heard it. Everything happens for a reason. Or look on the bright side. Or just stay positive. And of course, we've all heard, God won't give you more than you can handle. That might come from a good heart. But when you're the one bleeding, that kind of shallow positivity doesn't feel like support. It feels like somebody's changing the subject. It feels like dismissal. We don't need fake smiles. We need truth. And I'll tell you this, biblical faith is not denial. Go read the book of Psalms. David cried out to God and straight up asked why. He felt abandoned, surrounded, crushed. David wasn't soft. He was a warrior, a leader, a fighter, a man after God's own heart. And yet he still told God exactly where he was, unfiltered. Faith doesn't require you to pretend. Faith means that you bring the truth of where you are at into the presence of God. Not the cleaned up version, the real version. The Lord, I'm angry. God, I'm worn out. Lord, I cannot sleep. Lord, I keep seeing that call. And God, I need your help version of you. That is not weakness. That is a battlefield prayer. The darkness doesn't usually come at you all at once. It creeps in slowly. A little less sleep, a little more anger, a little more drinking, a little less patience, a little less prayer, a little less connection to the people you love, a little more numbness. And then one day you wake up and realize you haven't felt real joy in a long time, like a really, really long time. And here's what makes it low-key dangerous. You still function. You still show up to work. You still answer calls, make arrests, run the scene, and take care of everyone else. From the outside, nothing looks wrong, but something inside is going dark. Listen to me. Depression is a liar. It tells you nobody cares, that you're a burden, that your family would be better off if you weren't around. There's no way back from where you are at. And if you don't remember anything else from this episode, remember this. That voice is lying to you. So don't make a permanent decision where you're listening to a liar. Tell someone, not tomorrow, right now. Because suicidal thoughts are serious, but they're also interruptible. You don't have to fix your whole life tonight. You just got to interrupt the spiral. Call someone, text someone, wake somebody up, hand off the weapon, stay alive. That's the mission. Psalm 23 doesn't say, I walk around the valley. It says, I walk through the valley. And that word through matters. God doesn't always pull you out of the hard season right away. No, he will walk through it with you. Now that might not be what we want to hear, but it is the promise we can stand for. For you are close beside me. The darkness is not proof that God slept out on you. The valley is not proof that you're faith-filled. The pain is not proof that your life is over. Sometimes the valley is exactly where God starts rebuilding what the job and the trauma and the grief and the exhaustion have been tearing apart. Isaiah 41:10 says, Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you. That's not soft. That's God saying, I am with you. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I'll hold you up when you can't hold yourself up. That's rescue language. And I'll tell you what, some of y'all need rescue right now. Not because you're weak, because you've been carrying way too much for way too long with way too little backup. So what do we actually do? How do we start climbing out of this? First, stop lying. Not to everybody. Start with one person. Just say it out loud. I'm not good. I need to talk. I'm having dark thoughts. I'm drinking too much. I can't sleep. I'm angry all the time. Or I don't feel like myself anymore. One person, one honest sentence. That's where it all starts. Secondly, get your body under control. Breathe. Real breathing. Box breathing. 5 seconds inhale. Hold it for 5 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. Hold it for 5 seconds. That's round one. Do that 5 times. Put your feet flat on the floor. Look around and name what you see. Name what you hear. Bring your mind back into the room you're actually in. Your nervous system has been living like the tones are about to drop any second. You have to train it to stand down and move your body. Walk, run, lift. Whatever it is, get it in. You need that dopamine working for you, not against you. And thirdly, bring in the right people. People who actually get it. Peer support, a chaplain, counselor, life coach, pastor, a real friend. And if it's appropriate, your spouse. But don't put it all on your spouse. They may love you, but they may not be able to handle everything the job dropped on you. That's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you either. Let's talk about stress. And I don't mean the my coffee order got messed up kind of stress. I'm talking about first responder stress. The kind that comes from danger and death and violence. From betrayal, bad calls, short staffing. From bad leadership, mandatory overtime, court dates and complaints. And broken sleep. And carrying everyone else's emergency while your own life is quietly falling apart in the background. That kind of stress just doesn't stay in your head. It moves into your body and sets up shop. Your shoulders stay locked. Your jaw clenches up. Your stomach is on edge. Sleep? No, that's gone. Blood pressure climbing. Patience? Forget about it. And your family? The people you love the most? They're getting the version of you that's already been drained dry. And the worst part? After a while, that starts feeling normal. You forget what peace feels like. You forget what it's like to sit in a room without watching all the exits. To sleep without waking up ready to fight. To laugh without having to force it. That's not just stress. That's your system stuck in survival mode. And survival mode was built for moments. Not for marriages, not for raising kids, not for retirement, not for your whole life. And here's where a lot of first responders get caught up. Because your body keeps the score, always. Your mouth says, I'm good. But your body is saying something completely different. I'm exhausted. I'm angry. I'm numb. I'm drinking too much and sleeping less. I'm snapping at people I love. I'm ghosting church. I'm ghosting friends. Ghosting myself. You can fool your coworkers. You can fool the bosses. You can even hold it together in front of your family for a while. But you cannot run game on your own nervous system forever. Eventually, what you refuse to deal with will show up somewhere else. In your marriage, your health, your temper, in your faith, and how you see the world. And if you stay in that space long enough, cynicism takes over where compassion used to be. Calls become an inconvenience. Civilians become problems. Patients become a burden. And every person at home becomes another demand. And one day you look in the mirror and ask yourself, what happened to me? Well, here's what happened. You've been exposed to too much, carried too much, and processed too little. That's not who you are. It's what's been done to you, and the score is catching up. Then you start isolating, and that's where darkness gets comfortable. And we're experts at that. We can be surrounded by people and completely alone. Sitting at the table in a firehouse saying nothing that matters. Cracking jokes and briefing while falling apart on the inside. Sleeping right next to our spouse and feeling like nobody actually knows us. Or sitting in church on Sunday, feeling like we don't belong because we've seen too much, done too much, carried too much. And isolation has a voice. It says nobody gets it. Nobody wants to hear it. You'll be judged. You'll lose your job. You'll lose the respect you worked for. You'll become a burden. That voice is lying. There are people who understand. People trained specifically for this. Brothers and sisters in this profession who would rather get a call from you at 2 a.m. than stand at your funeral. There are chaplains and coaches who will sit with you, whatever you're carrying. Peer support people who are in the exact same hole and found a way out. But nobody can help with what you've hidden. Healing needs some light, not from everybody. You don't need to put your business in the streets, but you need to tell somebody safe, somebody solid, somebody who won't panic, won't gossip, and won't try to Bible verse their way past your real. And this one's really important. Faith does not cancel pain. Faith gives pain somewhere to go. Some folks think that if you really trust God, you should never feel depressed. That's not what the Bible says. Moses got overwhelmed. Elijah sat under a tree and asked God to let him die. David cried out in despair so many times. Paul said he was crushed, overwhelmed, and at the end of himself. These were not soft men. They were giants, used by God for real things, and they still hit their breaking points. So if you're sitting there right now thinking, I must be a bad Christian because I'm struggling, that is not the truth. That's shame talking. The Bible doesn't hide suffering. It tells the truth about it. But it also tells us suffering is never the end of the story. God meets people in caves, in deserts, under trees, in the middle of storms. And yeah, God can meet you in a patrol car at 3 a.m. He meets us in parking lots, in a bunk room, even in a garage where you're sitting alone with a decision you can't take back. But you got to stop acting like you don't need him. Stop acting like you don't need people. Faith is not refusing help. Faith is finally saying out loud to God, I cannot carry this by myself anymore. So where does all of this put us? With a choice. Keep stuffing it down or start dealing with it. Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one thought. Everything we talked about in this episode points to one simple truth. The job teaches us how to survive the call, but it doesn't always teach us how to survive what the call leaves behind. If you've recognized yourself somewhere in today's conversation, the anger, the exhaustion, the isolation, the sleepless nights, the feeling that you're carrying more than anyone realizes, I want you to know you're not alone and you're not weak. What you are experiencing isn't a character flaw. It's often the result of years of exposure to things most people will never see in a lifetime. But awareness is only the first step. In our next episode, we're going to get tactical. We're going to talk about what to do when darkness starts closing in, how to interrupt the spiral before it becomes a crisis, how to build a personal survival plan, how to use faith, peer support, counseling, and practical tools to start reclaiming your life. Because recognizing the problem is important, but building a way out is where healing begins. Until then, I want you to do one thing. Tell one person the truth. Just one. One honest conversation can change the direction of an entire lifetime. If you need help right now, cops, call Copline, 1-800-COPLINE, 1-800-267-5463. For firefighters, medics, and dispatchers, call the Fire Medic Helpline, 1-800-371-FIRE, 1-800-371-3473. Or you can call or text the National Suicide Hotline at 988. I'm retired Sergeant Danny Coon. This is Bulletproof First Responder. You got to put God first, family second, and the job further down the ladder. Remember, stay safe, stay alive, and I'll see you in part 2.